You could wander around here for hours in the plaque gallery just reading all the plaques and seeing all the all-time greats. Pretty good hot corner right here. That's George Brett, one of the greatest third basemen of all time, winning first ballot 1999. Right over here, guy considered to be the greatest third baseman in the history of baseball at this point. He went in first ballot 1995, Michael Jack Schmidt. Now, Adrián Beltré was not considered to be a challenger to this level of player for most of his career. By the time he ended it, however, all Hall of Fame debate for Adrián Beltré was over. Let's give him a little Cooperstown justice. Adrián Beltré is a rare case. He was not a Hall of Famer, nor was he on a Hall of Fame track through his age 30 season. He was a good player with one great year. That's what happened. I'm not being harsh. Other third basemen, think of this. Ken Boyer, Buddy Bell, Ron Cey, guys who are not likely to get into the Hall, were all better players in their 20s than Adrián Beltré. We studied this a lot on this show. Here's Adrián Beltré, age 20 through age 30. It's .272, slugs .456, a 106 OPS plus, barely above league average, a 4 WAR on average. That's a good player. But then he hits another level entirely, and for the next 7 full seasons, he hits .310 with a .521 slugging percentage. OPS plus is now 133. Average WAR is over 6. You put both halves together, that's a Hall of Fame player. This is a very rare case. Most first ballot Hall of Famers, especially at third base, if you're Mike Schmidt, if you're George Brett, Chipper Jones, Wade Boggs, Brooks Robinson, they were all first ballot Hall of Famers by their late 20s. Beltré was not. But by the time he was done, Adrián Beltré had put up truly staggering numbers. Beltré fills the old school idea of what a Hall of Famer should be and what a new school Hall of Famer needs. By the time he retired, Adrián Beltré had the most hits and the most total bases of any third baseman in the history of the game. Those are significant marks. And because he was such a superior fielder, and he was always great with the glove, even in the early part of his career wins above replacement or WAR is reasonably staggering as well. A good Hall of Fame mark of WAR is 60. Beltré is at 93. In fact, only Mike Schmidt and Eddie Matthews have a higher WAR at third base than Adrián Beltré. This has made Beltré a lock in the voting. It was a slow start, but Beltré got there and put up the kind of numbers that put his case beyond any argument. And we want to do a little justice here to Adrián Beltré, who is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. His name will be announced a little behind us right here at the plaque gallery. Jason Stark, JP Morosi, back with me now. I had to even be reminded as I'm looking, wow, yeah, he's number 1 in total bases, number 1 in hits at third base, which, as we see from all the plaques up here, we're talking about it's a high-level position.
No doubt. And hey, Brian, he's almost certainly going to wind up with the highest voting percentage of any third baseman ever. George Brett holds that now. It's interesting because people didn't look at Adrián Beltré through most of his career as he was better than George Brett or he was better than Mike Schmidt. But take a look. He's going to wind up, it looks like, with one of the highest vote percentages ever. I mean, you had Jason Sardell on. He's projecting him at 99%. Look at who's had 99% in this voting. Mariano, Jeter, Griffey, that's it. And it makes me wonder, are we ever going to have a unanimous position player? What is the reason to not vote for that guy?
Yeah, I think we will. I don't get caught up in that because there's always one guy. Not that it's you, John.
Why
always one guy.
I know a guy too.
Sometimes you go 10 deep, right? You go 10 deep, you're like, I don't have room. You could say, I don't have Adrián Beltré because I wanted to get in Mark Burley, right? Which is like you had Burley in last year, saying I want to keep him on the ballot. It could happen. But yeah, I think that not everyone, but most now writers are looking at wins above replacement, career WAR. And when you see 93, you're thinking, okay, that's a lock. But I know on the field, though, that 31 to 37, those years, John, were exceptionally impressive.
They were, Brian, and I think in a lot of ways they were the accumulation and the result of the talent that was clearly there from the beginning, but it just wasn't obvious in the numbers. Let's remember, Adrián Beltré debuted at the age of 19 years old. And as the saying goes, the call came from within the house. Tommy Lasorda was then in the Dodgers front office. He calls down to Ron Renneke at AA and says, how about Beltré? Is he ready? Oh, yeah, he was ready. He was still one of the youngest players in the National League, even in his third season. But as you talk about, Brian, it was that defensive ability, and Ron Renicky said to me that Beltré's ability to charge that ball from third base, make a barehanded play, and throw it across the diamond was the best he had ever seen. And Ron Renicky's been around this game for a long time. He was managing him at Double-A in San Antonio when he was called up. He coached against him for a long time. BK, look at that play. The ability, the balance to stay in place and to throw it across the diamond. And finally, BK, I want to make this point. The players in this hall changed the game and changed franchises. When the Rangers signed Adrián Beltré, it changed their identity. They got back to the World Series in 11. He became a legend there. And on the flip side, the organization that really wanted him at the same time, the Angels, in a lot of ways, they didn't really recover from that because they could have had, if they had signed Beltré and Trout at the same time, the entire complexion of the last decade of the American League West, as we know it, changed when Beltré signed with Texas.
Yeah, make good points there. And it's something that you even brought up with Chase Utley. Like when you speak to bench coaches, managers, other players, they can't say enough good, solid things about being a teammate or coaching Adrián Beltré.
Yeah, he was. He had a special impact on his teams, but I just want to mention he's one of the greatest defensive players ever at any position. The way he grades out, and he got 3,100 hits. To try to find players in the history of the sport with 3,100 hits and 5 Gold Gloves, it's a really short list. It's all legends. Only one other infielder is on that list, Derek Jeter and Adrián Beltré.
Wow.
That's it.
Jason bringing material again. Can I bring up something like obscure, but like I noticed, like again, playing fantasy baseball, you have a vested interest in like that pit. And I remember I had some Texas Rangers pitchers, and having Beltré play third base behind your fantasy pitcher it was like a gift that kept on giving. You literally be watching a game going, oh, thank God he was there. Oh my God, what a play. It was like one after another where you're thinking, and it really solidified for me like how important it was to have that guy making the routine, the exceptional plays and the routine plays. He was that good.
He was, and some big moments in the playoffs too. People often forget. He had a 3-homer game in the clinching game of the American League Division Series in 2011.